pragmatically speaking, we allocate funds to all 36 counties and all 9 tribes. And it's up to an individual tribe or county to decide what fits with their curriculum or with their continuum of services. So that's why it was so important for us to have one instrument that can help us measure progress in different type of activities. And I believe Juliet spoke to that. So with the tribes, I believe, Andy, correct me, there was a time when JCP was the only funding that tribes were receiving directly from state agencies. At the same time, the addictions and mental health were also funding tribal prevention efforts. So that's a kind of like an ironic way of connecting yesterday's presentations. Because we started talking, so the tribes were talking about mental health and addictions and general health and behavioral health services 20 some years ago. So that was intentional, that those efforts were combined within the purview of prevention. And each tribe has a prevention team, at least. And Andy is part of his team, and he will talk about in details, I'm sure. I'm just giving him a little cues on what to talk about in case but he wants to talk about something else. But from my perspective, what's completely amazing, what the tribal prevention efforts have done, they've combined the juvenile crime prevention and behavioral health and general well-being of kids, families, and communities in one conceptual sort of and practical cluster, if you will. So it's nothing new to them. So it sounded like a brand new thing yesterday to us, but it's nothing new for the tribes. And I'm just making sure that, because that's what something that I really, really, really appreciate and admire and believe in. Not, and lastly, and I will stop at this point after that, and I will let Andy talk about it. The fundamental principle of tribal prevention practices is culture, because that's the main protective factor. Culture is prevention, and everything else is based on that. So as a state agency, I will say that we are proud that we were able to support tribal prevention efforts regardless of the policy changes on the state level, when everything had to be evidence-based and only rigorous research was, we could only fund this type of things. We were always pushing back in support of the tribes who started this movement that, excuse us, we've had thousands of years of practice, of cultural practices that were broken by an evidence-based culture that came from other evidence collections. So anyway, with that said, I have nothing but admiration and respect for tribal prevention efforts. So I'm biased, I'll just say it, and for Andy's work. And so Andy, please, it's yours.
Okay, thank you, Anya. Like she said, most of the tribal kids around here, we go off of the risk and protective factors. And we do also most of the clients, we take evaluation and their score through the JCP. That's how we usually do it with our community kids here. The big reason, I guess we could say, is I can't say we're different than everybody else, but we are more rural, considering that we have a lot of kids that are that don't stay with their parents, that live with their grandparents, and live with their uncles, live with their aunts, and actually a lot of families are maybe like 5 to 10 people in a home. So we wonder what these kids are doing, and we try to get them out of the best situation, get them into the best situation we can. By that, I try to weed them out. I go through the homes, I go to the schools. I kind of ask the juvenile coordinators what kids are going through the system and stuff like that. And that's how we kind of figure out what kids need help the most. So like Anya said, we do a lot of, like they said, culture, prevention is culture, or culture is prevention. pretty much that's how we kind of figure all our activities through here in Warm Springs. We have a prevention team that we have. It's tobacco prevention. We have a JCP program. What else we have? We have a lot of other prevention specialists. We have a suicide prevention specialist, underage drinking specialists, and we can go down the line. But in all, we have like eight staff members that we all combine to do the same thing, and that's to provide activities for the community. So she talked about the cultural aspects of what we do. Some of the things that we do is we have a quarterly culture powwow event that we have like quarterly. And what we do is sometimes it's just a gathering of people that we want, get together. And sometimes we do sobriety powwows too in our community. So a lot of it has to do with kids and adolescent, bringing them together with their families, actually bringing their families with them. So that's kind of our main purpose for that. And then, seeing the traditional part of it. We're trying to, they say that the old people, our elders say that we need to keep our tradition together. So that's what we try to do. The more activities we do, the better for the kids. So some of the activities that we do are moccasin making, necklace making. We just recently did a drum making kit where we had, because of the COVID, we had them line up on the outside of our building where they can drive up and then receive their kits, where they go online and then they kind of show them how to do these drums that we provide for them. So that was kind of our recent one. We do a ribbon skirt making program, powwow regalia, Pendleton vest making, basket making, and another new one is a roach making. If you guys know what a roach is, no, it's not like a insect, but a roach is the top of a hat or they place on top of their head when they dance, Native American, when they go to powwows. The roach is the top of it. That's what they call the roach. So Jacelyn Brisboyce, she's one of our new prevention coordinators, and she does a lot of that making stuff like that. So she has hands-on ages ranges between 6 and 15-year-olds, and it's kind of like since the COVID, we've been going online a lot. So it's kind of like an online thing right now until we get this COVID thing figured out. I kind of like everybody else. So she's also working on a Daughters Through Tradition program this summer. This program kind of trends through culture and mentoring for kids, for girls, 6 to 15-year-olds in the community. So it's a great program. It's through White Bison. And this is one of our new programs that we're coming up with. So our tobacco preventionists, they're doing a native quit line right now in our community. Resolution for a smoke-free campus right now. They're trying to get a resolution through IHS right now, try to pass that where we can have, I think it's 25 feet from each building where you can't smoke, stuff like that. So our JCP program, and like I said, I do sobriety events in the community. I bring together my clients. I have 8 total right now. So when I invite them, hopefully they can go out and invite other people like their families. So we have community events. The cosmic bowling, I take them out off the reservation to Madras. We go cosmic bowling. Family bingos, we have 3 districts. In our reservation, we have 3 districts. It's kind of like counties, but on the reservation. So it's Signage, Agency, and Sequoia. So those are the 3 districts that we have. Kind of a little history right there. So we have Jcp Movie Nights where we have families coming in and we do gatherings, pizza, and do a family movie night for our communities at kind of like an 8 o'clock movie. Sit on the grass in front of our building, and we project the movie out there on a screen. So let's see. I do visitations in the school and home. It's kind of like a check-in for each client, kind of see how they're at, what they're doing, how their schooling is going. And if they're in the justice system, kind of like find out from their probation officer or court dates, anything to do with that. So make sure they get there, and make sure they're following through with what they're supposed to be doing. So I do baseball camps and basketball camps for the community. So that's a big thing that I like to do. Actually, I'm doing a baseball camp coming up in March. So I'm kind of stoked about that. We have penny carnivals that we do. What's that?
Andy is a professional baseball player.
Yeah, I'm going to baseball in Phoenix in a couple of weeks to go play baseball. So we do JCP Community Penny Carnivals, where we do a lot of information and prevention. The Penny Carnival, kind of a tradition. We kind of don't do pennies. We kind of just about information for each booth. So each of our booths are prevention specialists. So once they play the game, then we give them information rather than giving them pennies. So it's kind of exchange of information. Rather than pennies, we give them information. So, and then they still win prizes. So it's kind of cool. A lot of the things we're doing right now is signage on social media. Our prevention team does have a Facebook page. It's Warm Springs Prevention on Facebook, and then I also have one that's Warm Springs Adolescent Aftercare on Facebook. So we do a lot of signage through that. Our radio station KWSO, we do a lot of promos, and our papers there, the Spiliai Taimu, and we do a lot of like information through that too. So right now we're doing quarterly webinars with our 9 tribes of Oregon. We haven't met for like how long? About a year? Anya? It's been about a year since we met, right?
No, it's been, yeah, usually these meetings were happening quarterly, and they're called 9 Tribes Prevention Meetings. And that was an opportunity for people to meet and talk about both what's working successfully and what challenges are, and just have some human experience, if you will. So yeah, business was taken care of course, but for the most part, it was staying connected to each other, which was really helpful for mental health. And
A lot of the stuff that we do at the 9 tribes is pretty much just passed along events that each tribe does. So we kind of go off of each other and see who's doing what, and what works, what doesn't work, and so most of the time in the community, it might work for someone and it might not work for another tribe. So we try to figure that out and see what the numbers are, and then grants is a big part of that. Trying to go over grants and information, stuff like that. That's what we do at the 9 tribes meetings. So.
And if you don't mind, if I think it will have more value if it comes from you, could you talk a little bit about how different in a way and unique each of the tribes is?
Some of the tribes, I mean, we were talking about different entities as far as what each tribe provides. A lot of it has to do with, like, we do a canoe journey. A lot of the tribes on the coastal do all that. A lot of us over here in Central Oregon do like the tribal powwows. We do a lot of makings. We got Pendleton over there. They have a lot of stuff. Burns Paiute Indians. I mean, we're all have different areas that we provide for different tribes. So I would say like each one of us bring a different value, I guess, to the meetings. We all have different things that we provide as far as tribes, our values, our tradition, the things that we work for, and what we see in our elders, mostly because not all tribes are the same. So we kind of go off of each other and pretty much kind of share and see our different traditions. I think it's more of that than anything. So we kind of share that and, respect each other's, programs for what we try to do. I have a last thing to say. Currently, we have on our reservation. I know we're in extreme, I think, still yet. So we're trying to get out to the next level. But right now we have 18 current active COVID positive cases right now. What our prevention is doing, like we have a homeless shelter right now that have 15 people that we're doing right now in the community. We have senior citizen meal deliveries where we do 3 times a week, and we have over, I would say, 150 seniors that in our community that we deliver 3 times a week for lunches. What this program does is we go out there and make sure that the seniors, our senior citizens, stay home. So we're trying to make them not come out and do stuff. So we kind of bring the food to them so they don't have to leave. So that's a big program that we're doing. We just had a water shortage right now, shortage, and they had a couple pipes break, I guess. So we're doing water delivery to those families that don't have water. So, and this has been for like a week. So they're actually just finishing that up. And last week we had our 18 and over vaccines here in our community. So we have had 2 of them so far. One was for the senior citizens, and then we had the second one where it was 18 and over vaccinations. So last week was our 18 and over, and that was their first round of first shots. So, and our senior citizens already went through on their second shot already. So we're getting that going. So, and then another thing that we do, we deliver food and water to COVID families that are under quarantine too. So they don't leave their homes, so they stay home, and then they call the clinic here, and then they call over here right next to us at the old school. And what they do is provide food, like canned foods, water, cereal, whatever they need for the week. So we kind of provide that. We take it out to them, leave it on their porch, and then they come out and get it. So some of the small stuff we're doing. Okay, Anya.
Well, thank you, Andy. Ladies, do you have any questions? I don't know. Well, you've been very quiet, waiting patiently for your turn to talk. I hope.
Andy, I have a question for you. So I do work with the Region 16 Comp Center, which means that I help April Campbell in the Office of Indian Ed in their American Indian Alaska Native Student Success Plan. Do you, what engagement do you have with the office, and is there collaboration? Is there shared spaces for conversation?
As far as the clients, or are we talking about inside the schools?
Just the school, like knowing what the schools are, what ODE is hoping that the schools will be working on, and hoping that providing a strong foundation for Native youth. And is there a through line there, or is that a completely separate? Does that not impact your work at all?
It doesn't impact my work at all. Actually, when we go, the school here, the Academy, Warm Springs Academy, K through 8, they are very likely to let us go in. We see kids, we do programs with kids. I did a couple mentoring classes with them last year. And we did also with their language class, they have kids in there. And they're very receptive to letting anybody to come in to talk to the kids right now. So right now they're kind of on a quarantine thing for outside guests. So we're kind of like looking outside, looking in right now. But I think that's everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, our school system's really good. The high school, we have clients there, but they have actual counselors within the school. So it's kind of hard for us to go in there and do the same thing that they're doing. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. If I may help answer your question, if I understood it. So Andy works on prevention side of.
Yeah.
Right, right. So each tribe has an educational agency.
Yep.
So each tribal education agency goes to a tribal education cluster. So April and her team works through educational agencies in respective tribes. And it will be probably up to an individual tribe to figure out whether those efforts are connected or not, whether prevention agencies work with education agencies or they don't. And in some tribes, actually, the education agency is the Jcp services prevention provider. So it's very individually determined by each tribe. So you'll probably get 9 different answers.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's we're about to do a comprehensive evaluation of a variety of different things. And it's and it's definitely around implementation. So I'm trying to find where the organic connections are, where the natural connections are, or where they're not, and what is our opportunity to bring together the assets of what everyone is doing towards the ultimate goal.
Right. Even in
A
your
lifelong journey.
right, like even in your neighborhood was Cow Creek. So there's Cow Creek Education Agency.
Right.
You know, that's probably more engaged with you. But then JCP prevention monies and the money that they get from mental health and addiction services, they will be in behavioral health. So
Right.
it will be up to Cow Creek to decide whether they want to connect those 2 efforts or not.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Because it's so we probably should have started with that, and I'm sure you already know it, but just to remind you that we're talking with different governments here.
Yeah.
These are not counties, these are individual sovereign nations.
Yep. Yep.
I just have more of a comment. I love hearing the engagement over cultural activities. And so what that also made me do, Andy, was like, I want to see pictures. So it was like, oh gosh, the richness that I can tell comes from what you're doing. So yeah.
So on the picture part, I was actually trying to gather those up, and I don't know what it is. I look for the pictures, and then I find something else, and then I go to another piece, and then I left the pictures out now. So
it's okay.
Yeah, it's a great part. We do have pictures, and then maybe in our next meeting, I'll kind of present that. So.
Well, I went to your Facebook page and I at least got one of them. So first one, what was you said the Warm Springs prevention, but what was the other one you said?
Warm Springs adolescent aftercare.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and then mostly everything I do with mine with the adolescent aftercare goes to the prevention page too. So
okay.
A lot of their advertisements, and they do a lot of promotion stuff too. So.
Got it. Thank you.
And Andy, I don't want to invite people because you would be the one inviting, but I'm trying to get what I'm trying to get to. If council members would have an interest in visiting Warm Springs prevention programming, would you be willing to extend the invitation?
When everything blows over, yeah.
Yeah.
We're all vaccinated. Yeah.
I'd be more than glad to show people around and everything if you guys more than likely would want to come to Warm Springs, or even whenever we have our next 9 tribes actual face meeting. We'd more than be happy to let people know what we're doing with the 9 tribes. So.
That would be great. Yeah, this is Liz. I just want to say thank you, Andy, for sharing all of the work that's happening. I had a chance to connect with Ron and Rosanna around suicide prevention and other work that I do, and just really great work that's happening, and eager to hear more and learn more. And I would jump at the opportunity once it's safe to be in shared physical space again to come visit or to pop into a 9 tribes meeting and just learn and hear more about the work that's happening. Thank you.
Yeah, Rosanna's doing a lot of QPR training right now, and she's doing a lot of, she's looking to do a train of trainers to help her out right now. She's gone within our school and did QPR for teachers there in our community. So that's really a big plus for the prevention team.
Yeah, great.
And if I may add to our conversation, just going back to the presentation, quote unquote, part of it. So another way that you as council members and we as YDD staff are involved in supporting tribal prevention efforts is through some federal funding that we receive from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and it's called Tribal Pass-Through. Basically, it's the money that we're passing on to the tribes, and what collectively the tribes decided to do, well, at least it's an annual decision and one to be made soon, again, was to use with this allocation. So traditionally that money has been put towards youth suicide camp that tribes take turns hosting every summer. Well, for obvious reason, it was not possible last summer, but hopefully that will be resumed. And that's a big effort between the tribes and NARA. We're just doing our little humble thing and to support it in any way. So I'm just trying to get Andy, influence Andy's decision to invite folks to visit, because I cannot do that invitation on my own. I'll be happy to accompany you there.
Yeah,
Invited.
it does help. We go, our annual camp that we have every summer is very special because we rotate. We rotate the camp every year to every tribe. So it's not just one tribe doing it. It's usually we choose what tribe does it the next year, so it doesn't end up. So the tribes all come together, and what we do, we provide a lot of prevention activities for them. So.
And all tribes send kids there. So it just.
Yeah,
Where
all tribes.
The last ones who hosted, was it Warm Springs, the last host for the last camp?
Yeah, we hosted it down here. Yeah, it was great. So.
Question with COVID and how everyone had to go online, is there anything once we are on the other side post-COVID that you're like, wow, we can still use XYZ during our programs? Is there anything that you're taking from it that you can use?
We did a lot of masking promotion thing that we do right now. I don't know if you know Scott Kalama. He recently did a promotional thing for the state, and regarding the mask up thing that they did, they promoted it throughout the state of Oregon. And what they did, have people come through, send their photos of what they, how they mask up at work or whatever they do. And Scott was chosen from here, and right now he's on billboards. So that's a pretty good program right now. And like I said, we do a lot of signage. So that's pretty much what we can do right now. So.
And Scott is a talented artist. You can see him on Facebook too.
Yeah, he's a rapper, and he does a lot of our prevention programs too. So.
He's really cool. I can see how kids totally relate to him.
Yeah, so if you're driving along and see Scott on the billboard, it's mask up. So.
Okay. Eric, were you hiding this whole time?
No, I just got moved from my other breakout room. I didn't do anything. I just appeared like a genie in a bottle.
I think I saw the notification that Melissa said in the next minute she's going to start putting us in our next thing.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's happening now.
Okay, so if somebody disappears, it's not like we're kicking you out.
No.
I didn't get to say my goodbyes to Sanji or the other group.
Hi for you. Hi, Boy.
Hi, is this group 2?
I don't know.
I was expecting to go back to the large group, or is this a large group? I'm not sure.
Okay, so I don't know the number, but we're talking about tribal prevention efforts.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all.
So I hope you're in the right place. That's where you wanted to end up?
I'm not sure where we are.
This is, we will be talking about tribal prevention
Oh,
efforts.
yes, for sure.
Oh, there we go. We just lost one of ours. I think we will slowly be trailing off. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Anya.
Hi, Liz.
I don't know when I'm going to leave, but
Okay, then we can stay and listen to us again.
I'll just hit the leave room button. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Next thing. Okay.
So do we wait like 5 minutes or something?
I don't know. Do you guys want to take a little break? I could use some coffee.
Yeah, I'll go fill my
Sure.
water. For sure.
So let's do like come back in like 2 minutes.
Let's sit for 2 minutes.
Okay. Here, I needed to get a little more caffeination going. So thank you so much for joining us. Andy and I will be sharing with you what we know and what might be of interest to you. And if we do not satisfy your interest, please ask questions. And if you want the conversation to go in a different direction, please do so. So this is not really a presentation, as hopefully it's a conversation. So I will we don't have a PowerPoint. I will attempt to try to get as close as I could to what we talked about at the previous group. It will be still the same subject, but I cannot promise that I'll repeat it word by word. But generally, I just wanted to start out with going back to yesterday's presentations when we had two, one on the use of JCP assessment tool and then the future of mental health in schools and collaboration of ODE with mental health and so forth. Now, 20 years ago, JCP was also at that stage when nobody knew what will go and how to measure success and what to do and what it will look like. There was a mandate from the state government, you shall do it, and here is some funds. And now go figure out how it will make sense. So 20 years ago, there was no JCP assessment, it was to be developed. So my hope for the mental health and where they're going was that at some point it becomes a practice as well, so it doesn't disappear. Now, interesting thing would happen in the process. So the tribal prevention efforts have been already doing it for at least the last 20 years, combining juvenile crime prevention and mental health and behavioral health and overall well-being of communities within their respective tribal locations and entities and so forth. So Andy will talk to you in a minute about what the Confederate Tribes of Warm Springs do to promote healthy communities in their areas and how it fits with the JCP efforts and so forth. And I don't think Andy will talk about the JCP crime prevention tool, but assessment tool, but it's being used. So that's the tool itself is just a practical element that is being used by programs. It's not the end goal by any means. But so I've had the privilege of working with tribes in that area for as long as I worked for the state. In fact, when I first started, I was invited to Warm Springs to something called 9 Tribes Prevention Meeting, which was completely amazing thing for me. And then I think Caroline Cruz sort of adopted me into the family. And at that time she worked for the state. She was the tribal prevention coordinator for addictions and mental health, and now she runs health and human services for Warm Springs. So anyway, so that was my completely first and most memorable introduction to the efforts. And I have nothing but deep respect and admiration for what the 9 tribes have been able to accomplish over this last few years, and how it grew from a seed of there would be one person working on any type of prevention in a tribe to now each tribe has a prevention team. And again, I intentionally repeat myself, it's not the senior citizen moment yet. That what's amazing and admirable how they combine juvenile crime prevention. So basically risk of committing a crime with overall well-being of community, and how culture is the fundamental principle of prevention, because culture is prevention and all tribal efforts are built around that. And if I'm biased, I am. So if you notice, I'm kind of biased. But I really am. And so we're so lucky and fortunate to have Andy serve as a member of the council. And at the same time in his day life, actually, I don't know, this is day life too. He is the tribal prevention coordinator for Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. And Andy, it's all yours now.
Welcome everybody. What I like to do is like to talk about some of the things that we do in Warm Springs. What we do is, like they said, we do the evaluation, and it goes over the risk and protective factors for every kid that we have. Actually, right now I have 8 clients at the moment, ranging through high school, and then middle school, I think 8th grade level up to high school. What I do usually is go visit them at their home, see them in the school, or if they're in the juvenile system, then I find out what happened, why it happened, and from the perspective of a juvenile coordinator compared to a kid, there's always 2 different stories. So, and I think everybody knows that. So I kind of cater to what they need in their community. A lot of our community here in Warm Springs, we have kids that are that live with their grandparents or live with their uncles and aunts. Some of the homes that we have here are they have maybe 5 to 10 people within one home, and the things about support of these kids, and caring for them is not very good right now. So what we do, we try to go out in the community and find these kids, and figure out what's going on. So a lot of our things that we do is, like they said, prevention is culture, culture is prevention. We do that within our, I think within our 9 tribes in Oregon. I think that's a very big slogan that we have. Each tribe in the state of Oregon goes off of culture. A lot of our programs are to bring kids out with the culture. Our elders in every community is, they're saying that we're losing our culture. So what we do, we try to bring it out, have more stuff for the kids, for our community, and to bring families together. So that's a big part of our 9 tribes slogan right now. So some of the things that we do is we have in our community is cultural powwow events. We have 3 of them in our yearly event I guess, calendar. We have moccasin making, necklace making, drum making. We have ribbon skirt making, actually powwow regalia, Pendleton vest making, basket making, and roach making. If you guys know what roaches are. Any heads? No? Yeah? No? Okay. The roaches, when you see powwows and everything, the regalia, when they have the headdress on, that's the roach. So, and it's a very big part of the regalia for powwows. So, what we do, we're planning ahead. We're going to do quilt making this summer, crochet making, and then painting. And then we also will continue to do lacrosse classes that we have for kids in the Boys and Girls Club. So that's one of the sports. I know a lot of Indian kids, they like to play basketball. I think that's a year-round sport for us, but we're trying to get them into lacrosse right now. So that's a different thing that it's kind of a culture thing, because it's gone back way back. I guess one of the first sports, and we're trying to get that back. And then through the 9 tribes, we even had a thing of a 9 tribes league with the lacrosse with the kids. So that's kind of cool. We have different areas in our prevention areas, tobacco prevention. We have, JCP. We have suicide prevention programs, underage drinking. And each one of us, there's like eight in our staff, but we all come together, and it's not like us, them, and this program, that program. It's usually Warm Springs prevention. So we all go together. If one has a program, then we all have a program. So it kind of goes like that route. We do a lot of powwows only because we try to bring the kids together with their families. And with my clients, the JCP clients, we try to invite them, and then they invite their families, and then they invite their elders. So it kind of goes like a thing where we get everybody together. We do I take a lot of kids to the cosmic bowling. In cosmic bowling, we usually take them out off the reservation. So we kind of take them out away from everything for programs. We do family bingos. We have 3 districts in our reservation. If you guys didn't know, it's kind of like counties on our reservation. So it's Signage, Agency, and Sequoia. Those are the three districts in our reservation. So each one of those, we do a family bingo where we go to each area. So they have a longhouse in each area, and we go to those people. So it's kind of like maybe like 20 miles each way. So we've got Agency, then Signage, and then Sequoia over here. So it's all like a big old triangle. So a lot of our clients, we do visitations. I do visitations within the school district. I try to go see them at home. And a lot of it has to do with, if they're in the juvenile crime situation where they're in the system. I usually try to go within the coordinators and ask them, what happened and everything. So it's kind of like a check-in for them to make sure they're doing stuff that they're supposed to be. So, and then we do a lot of camps. Our prevention team, we do baseball camps and we do basketball camps in our community. One of our big events is our JCP Community Penny Carnival. And what we do, we have 3 of those every year. And what we do is kind of like they say the penny carnival, but we don't use pennies. We do like prevention information. We give that to them instead. So each booth is our prevention coordinator. So we have like maybe 8 booths, and then we have an invitation for other booths to give out information about their programs too. So it ends up we have like 12 booths in our penny carnival. So it's kind of cool. We have right now, we haven't met. We have quarterly meetings with our 9 tribes that we do. And what we do in our meetings is kind of what we do. We kind of transfer information, what each tribe is doing in their programs within their own communities. We try to figure out if this is working for this tribe, if this is working for this tribe. It might not work for this other tribe. So we have 9 situations where we have where we do reports about what everybody's doing in their community. So it's kind of cool. We kind of go off of each other. It's not like you can't use mine and I can't use yours. but everybody comes together and figure out what prevention activities does work in our community. So right now we have 18 active COVID positive cases right now on our reservation. We were situated where we had 50% work, I guess our work in our community, the tribe, it was only limited at 50%. So our program right now is like, we're only on like our websites or social media. We have 2 social media outlets. One is Warm Springs Prevention on Facebook. The other one is Warm Springs Adolescent Aftercare that we do our programs off of. We do a lot of signage. We do masking up. We do social distancing, wash your hands. We do anything we can to get that out right now. We have a homeless shelter that we help out on. There's 15 people in our homeless shelter at the moment. We do senior citizen meal deliveries that we do 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And we serve over 150 senior citizens lunches so they can stay home. So we're trying to keep our senior citizens at home so they won't be out because of the COVID. So that's we've been doing that since last March. So it's coming on a whole year that we've been doing 3 times a week. So it's a good program. We're also doing like water delivery because we had a couple water breakage pipes break-in right now during the winter time. So we have families without water, so we deliver water to their families. We just had 2 vaccination clinics. One was with the senior citizens. We had 590 second shots given to the senior citizens right now. 1,490 were given first shots for the COVID last week. So a lot of things that we do is we help out on that. We also deliver food and water to COVID families that are under quarantine right now. So whenever they're under quarantine, we try to make them stay home, and then they call the clinic calls us, and then we deliver boxes to their homes. So that's kind of like the activities that we've been doing since the COVID's been shutting down everything, I guess. We haven't been able to go out and do activities. So that's kind of what I have. So we do a lot of cultural activities and we try to get it out, but right now we're on stoppage, kind of like everybody else too. So Anya?
Well, thank you, Andy. Does anybody have questions for Andy? Because I know Andy has to leave at 10:30 to deliver meals. So you have 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. I just don't want to take any of this time away.
Andy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just had a quick question. I'm always just a little suspicious of tools when they say, yeah, we figured out the cultural competency. Yes, it works with everyone. Mm-hmm. And so I just was curious, I know they tried to create with a JJAC as good a tool as can be. And I also think there are always challenges. So I just know you have real experience using it. And I was curious about your perspective on how useful it is. And if you feel like it needs to be adjusted or if it really meets your needs in an important way.
It meets, it meets a lot of what we're doing right now. We try to expand more and more actually, because we kind of listen not to what certain people want, I guess, in our community, but what everybody needs. Like things that aren't presented, I guess you could say, like I've said, like we do necklace making, moccasin making, drum making. A lot of programs don't do that, so it's kind of like bringing it back. We just had a drum making program where we put together kits for cars, and what we did, we advertised on our Facebook page to come up to prevention. We give them a kit, but they have to stay in their cars. So we had a big old line on our whole community. We had to block off a road or something. We didn't know it was going to be that, that popular, but it did. So it's one of those things where people are looking for traditional things to do. Prevention and culture is kind of things that all 9 tribes are doing right now. And each tribe is different. I mean, we might be making drums, and we have a couple people over at like Cow Creek or someplace over there, they're doing canoes. So it's different cultures each way. I mean, like in Pendleton and Burns, stuff like that. So each area has different things. So it kind of varies with each tribe. I think we are getting out mostly. I would say the last 3 years we've done a lot of prevention culture stuff. Has picked up a lot. So
Andy, you might have mentioned this, but what's the infrastructure like for virtual programming or online education, or I was thinking a lot about some of the traditional hands-on activities or craft work or things like that, and how much of that, if any, could happen like online. I do know that like the OSU Extension Service, in partnership with the Confederated Tribes of the Warm Springs, have done some sort of like canning classes and things like that are online. But then it makes me wonder, do folks have access to computers and high-speed internet and things like that? So could you speak to that at all? Is that something that's happening right now during COVID?
Yeah, we actually, the school actually still have computers out to the kids because of COVID. They had online classes. Mm-hmm. So I know through my wife, she works for the school district, and I know for sure they still have their computers. So pretty much we got a lot of access, a lot of kids that are accessing their computers yet. So this is our first year doing virtual stuff, so it's kind of like we did a lot of hands-on, like we'll do like different buildings, having drum making or something like that. And this is our first year doing virtual, which is kind of hard because we usually had somebody come in and do it for us, or we had one of our staff members doing it. And we used to have to, now we have to kind of like bring them in, and then they have to get on camera and do all that stuff. And teaching these kids, you really can't see them, but and see how fast they're doing it, mm-hmm. other than hands-on. So we've had this one so far. So, but yeah, it's a different thing for us right now.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Yeah.
Andy, is there, and I'm not exactly sure how this works as well, but is there any specific, we're in legislative sessions right now, and is there any specific bills that the tribes are looking at in regards to support to community that we should be paying attention to?
Like Anya said, we were talking about the education part. A lot of it has to do through the schools, and mm-hmm. We kind of go, our prevention area, we kind of go within the school, but as far as grants and everything, it's kind of like 2 different things. Mm-hmm. We do through Jcp, and then there's the education part. So that's a good question. Anya, can you answer that?
Well, I don't know if I have an answer, but just judging from a conversation that was held at a tribal public safety cluster meeting, so YDD, YDC were so unique in our nature that we fit with several tribal clusters. Prevention is one of them that Andy just mentioned, but we also work with tribal health and human services cluster, tribal education cluster, as well as tribal public safety cluster, just because of various aspects of life that YDC, YDD have a stake in. So what occurred at the last public safety cluster was a conversation that tribal law enforcement agencies were concerned that tribes were not involved in any development or any aftermath so far of the measure 110, the legalization of drugs and so forth. So if there is a way to connect maybe with the tribal, with the Legislative Commission on Indian Services in that respect, because that might have a tremendous kind of aftermath that the tribes will have to deal with. Because basically what the, and I'm not going to name the law enforcement agencies because I will probably mess it up, but I'm sure that Grand Round had a lot to say about it, because they were part of this conversation, that basically tribal law enforcement cannot interfere anymore. Because people are just like, okay, there is my drug, I'm just dropping it in front of you, you can't arrest me. So, and that will affect children as well. And I'm not in a position to be of any a professional opinion about it. I'm just saying that I heard this concern loud and clear, that it came from all tribes at that meeting, that they were not consulted. So if there is a way to find some kind of tribal participation in the discussions that are being held, sounds like daily, by the Judiciary Committee on this. And I don't know, I'm yeah. But that's the only one I'm aware of.
That's helpful. Thank you.
So Celeste, I don't know, Andy, and I hate to like help interpret things because I'm the last one, but I'm Celeste, when you asked your question of Andy, were you referring to the JCP assessment tool specifically, whether using the tool is helpful in Andy's work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Andy, when you use the JCP assessment tool, does it work for you, or do you feel, well, yeah, well, what's your opinion? I'm not gonna put words in your thoughts in your head or words in your mouth.
I think the assessment is really helpful, actually. When we do the assessment, usually I'm doing it and asking the client the question. So you really could see what actually how they answer it. I think a lot of it has to do with you know, trust issues with the client and yourself. So it has been real helpful to me. I don't know if you know, as far as gauging what the kid needs as far as the risk and protective factors. That's the big issue that we want to do, is what do they need, and what is helping them already. So it has helped me. I think I've done like how many years? 3 years now, JCP, 4 years maybe, where I've had clients, you know, come and go, and finding new clients and keeping them busy, actually, and trying to figure out what's going on. So.
And Celeste, in general, if you have any more questions about the tool itself, or how we collect information, how information is being collected on an individual use level by various communities, you know, you can always contact me and I will be happy to connect you. And I know Christina kindly offered her help, but it is being universally used. Nobody's saying that it's perfect, but it's fairly reliable. And one thing I must give credit to everybody who uses it, and the Juvenile Directors Association and tribes have been working with NPC research for years. It always evolves. So if there is something practitioners notice that needs to be improved, that the question is not clear, that way you may get kind of conflicting answer to it, we make adjustments as we go. So it's a, you know, it's a cliche, work in progress, but it really is. I prefer to call it like it's a living sort of thing. it's not was once developed 20 years ago and this is it, it's perfect, go with it. No, nothing is perfect, but we strive to getting as good as we can.
Thank you, Anya. That was exactly what I was wondering. If they did it 20 years ago and said, trust us, it's a great tool, or if it was really being
No.
modified. And okay, thanks. That's helpful.
And I have to tell you, since YDD pays part of the bills, I tell you, we're doing a lot